UK and Australia listed Aura Energy has projects in vanadium and uranium, and in doing so hits two of the big themes around the battery metal space, a hot area for investors at present. Peter Reeve is Exec Chairman and CEO of Aura Energy, joins us now with some more. Peter, welcome.
Thank you.
When we spoke in the summer, we were looking ahead to the end of this year to see about the DFS around the Tiris project, the uranium project you got underway. How close are you now to publishing that?
Okay, we raised some good money earlier in the year, and that's been well spent and is getting well spent all on that DFS. We expect to have the majority of the DFS work completed by the end of this calendar year, so end of December, and we'll release the report sometime in about probably February 2019. So we're tantalisingly close to that sort of construction phase and production phase.
And for investors that don't really understand the significance of the DFS, what position is that going to put you in?
The definitive feasibility study really gives you the best estimate of capital and operating costs, the method of construction, the process, and it allows financiers to have a lot of comfort going forward to help you fund the project.
And funding that project, so how about that next stage?
The next stage, look, it's quite interesting at the moment. We're talking to a particular party about funding that could combine both uranium and the vanadium, but we are quite encouraged where we are already at on that area.
I want to get onto the vanadium in just a minute, but one last question on Tiris and production. Have you got any idea yet as the sort of best guess you've got for start of production?
If the DFS is submitted in February 2019 and we can commit quite quickly with a funded project, then it's quite a short lead time, this project, so 12 to 15 months should see us through to production, so 2020.
Yeah, and of course the uranium price at the same time is looking pretty, certainly on from this time last year. Sure. I think we're up about 40–50%.
Yeah, there's some real activity in the market. A lot of very good market watchers who I talk to in London are saying this is the real deal, and we've seen it up 50% this year. We think it'll have a little bit of a plateau now, but it is looking very promising.
Yeah, I want to move on to vanadium now, and of course in terms of the price of vanadium, that has just gone ballistic. Well, we'll take a look at the price of vanadium in just a minute, but I want to talk about your assets which you have in Sweden. You are proposing a battery factory, I think, ultimately, aren't you? Explain a bit more about the vanadium business, because you've had it on the books a long while.
Yeah, the asset we've spent about $20 million on. We've been there for about 10 years. It's a bit of a chameleon to some extent. It was a polymetallic, and now the vanadium has really come up and sung very loudly, and it's a really strong vanadium project. We defined a high-grade zone, a very limited high-grade zone, and we've now done some capital and operating estimates. We can't release the details of that, but we're there drilling at the moment. I was there in the last few days, very cold, and we think we've got a great project. As an adjunct to the vanadium project, we think the idea to vertically integrate into a battery factory is quite sensible, and we're talking to people about that who we could JV in a really high-end battery factory in central Sweden.
And of course the other thing I know that we're talking about again in the summer about the vanadium business is the potential to spin off part of the business. Is that still on track?
We've never really had the reflection of Hagorn or the vanadium in our share price. Also, we like the idea that when the Swedish sun comes up, a Swedish management team takes a hold of it and really drives this thing forward. And also that the funding comes from local sources, Sweden, London, etc. It's too far away to do it from Australia. We think it's a better deal for everybody, including shareholders, if we spin it out and get a reflection of that market cap for Vanadis Battery Metals into Aura Energy share price. So
that's the name we're going to be looking for, Vanadis Battery Metals.
That's the one.
Let's bring up the share price. You spoke very briefly about it. We're currently at 1.9. This is the London listed share. Just to quickly explain what's going on here, because as I said, in terms of the uranium price, you've already got a 50% improvement on from this time last year, but the vanadium price has just gone up enormously.
Yes, yes. The share price has been a bit flat lately. We've had a large shareholder out of London sell some shares, disappointed that some gold tenements actually in Mauritania weren't granted. We understand the position. They've been fantastic shareholders. We hope they come back one day. But it's the share price has withstood a lot of selling. So actually I think it's done very, very well. And share registers do shuffle and roll over a period of time and change. And I think we're setting the register now for the new future, which is production out of Tiris and a vanadium development project, which is really exciting.
But if you're selling part of the vanadium business, I mean, this can't be reflected in any way, shape or form in the current share price.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I think there's serious upside if we get the separate vehicle listed, and that is, as we say, attributed into the Aura share price.
You say if. How big an if is that, and what are the conditions that will lead you up to that?
We want to put out a vanadium scoping study on Vanadis. We need the capital operating estimates plus a measured and indicator resource to satisfy the reserves people. And we're doing that drilling as we speak, and that's where I was in Sweden during the week, just looking over that and talking to local politicians and Swedish politicians.
How confident are you as leader of the team in getting that information you need?
Oh, very confident. We know exactly what we're doing with the drilling, and the capital and operating estimates have already been completed. Regulation says we can't release them yet, but what I try and say is we're very encouraged by them to go to the next step.
And if you do list on the market as you hope, how much are you going to get on the balance sheet, and how much will shareholders see of that, or is it all going to be pumped back in?
It's all going to be pumped back into the business. The idea of the spin out is not a cash grab or a money withdrawal for Aura. It's a way to energise Vanadis Battery Metals separately and get it moving. Nothing about taking money out of the business.
Okay, so here we are going to the back end of 2018. Clearly 2019 is going to be an exciting year, if not for another other reason other than to see the DFS published. What else you got in the pipeline in terms of news?
Look, we've probably spoken about most of the news, but we do have these fantastic gold-based metals tenements in Mauritania, and I think we're on the edge of getting them granted now, so they're also quite exciting. But the key issues are getting Tiris closer to production, getting it financed, getting some off-take in place, and also getting Vanadis Battery Metals energised. So I think that's enough on our plate for now.
Indeed, that's right, and look forward to speaking to you in 2019. But Peter, in the meantime, thanks indeed for joining us. Peter Reeve is Executive Chairman and Chief Executive of Aura Energy.